So guys, welcome back to my channel. In this video we are going to design this search section and the toolbar of the home page, which is remaining in our previous video. So if you are new on my channel, please hit subscribe button and like this video. And if you have not watched my previous video, then you must have to watch, because this is the third part of this series. Okay, so let's start, and I'm going to create a new section, okay, which is the search section for our home page. So I simply what to do is separate all the sections, okay, which is easy if we need this section in further videos or for the further pages. So we will simply include these things inside that page, and we don't have to redesign all these things again and again. Okay, so this is the best practice to designing a layout. So I'm going to take edit text, okay, and set the background. Means I'm going to design this layout roughly. I'm not going to focus on design right now, because as I said in my first video, we are going to first design all our widgets and pages, and after that we will going to connect this application with retrofit, I mean to say with live data, okay, which all data coming from the server, okay. And after that, after getting all of things, we will start focusing, or we will remodify our application and means design our layouts and inflate all the colors and make the whole app exactly like our wireframe. Okay, so I have, as you can see here, I was trying to design my edit text background, and with that I was supposed to find the exact background color, but I did not get that background color, so I choose this one and leave it like that. And I'm going to add some padding inside that, because if you see the wireframe, then you got the idea what I mean to say. Okay, so I have added some padding, which is 16 dB padding. And if you remember, we are following best practices, means we are not going to choose another padding. Means we have decided with how many paddings we have to give in our widgets, or how many margins we have to give in our widgets. Okay, so if you do all these best practices, then your app will look very awesome. Okay, and if you don't consider all these things, or if you don't consider best practices in your application, then your application start looking ugly, and no matter how much effort you have given to making that application, all your effort going to be waste. Okay, so please follow best architecture, best practices and material design guidelines to design your layout. Okay, and I am going to add some hint which is search here, as you can see in the design, I have already given the wireframe link inside my description. So if you have not checked it out, please check that, because most of the people, and I have already skipped the wireframe most of the time inside my videos. Okay, so please check that out, and you can get a reference what I am saying and what I was trying to build inside this video. Okay, so I am going to take some vectors, means search vector, and there are lots of drawable I have given in the wireframe. So I am trying to get all that vectors. As you can see here, I was trying to find the filter vector inside my drawable folder, but I did not get. So if you get any of means similar icons, so you can get, and later on I will provide all the drawables for you guys. Okay, so don't worry about that. And after that, I'm going to design that filter section. Okay, so I'm going to take a image button. For that, you can choose means you can take anything. You can take widgets, means you can take a view, you can take image view, you can take image button to make that filter button. Later on we can make that filter button clickable, and after that our means it will work exactly like what we want. Okay, it doesn't matter which widgets we are using. Okay, so let's constraint it, and after that we need to design one more thing. We need to design our toolbar. Okay, so let's constraint it, and after that we will focus on that layout too. Okay, so we are pretty much done with that layout. Now let's add some margin and padding. Okay, and let's make it wrap content, means our main constraint layout to the wrap content, because it will take the whole height, okay, which is unnecessary height. So I simply what do is make it wrap content, so it will only take that much space which was our application. Okay, so I'm going to create another layout, okay, which is our toolbar section, and also I am going to import some vectors for that, because we need that. And later on when we redesign our application, means when we start focusing on the design section, then we will replace all these things and we'll try to make as similar as we can. Okay, because it doesn't matter how your application is performing, it's totally depend on how your application UI interface look like. If it's look ugly, then no user going to be interact with your application. So it is important, but I was making this tutorial, means I was trying to explain you all the logics behind to making a very responsive and perfect UI. Okay, that's why I skip the designing part for those tutorials, and when we done with our logical part, then we'll start focusing on the design part. Okay, so I have taken another image button, and I am going to take a src, and in that src we are going to locate that drawable. Okay, as you can see here, and after that I am going to take a text view, and in that text view we will write our title section. Okay, this is for title section, and you can by default use a toolbar, material toolbar if you wish. Later on we will focus on that, because that toolbar going to be solve many problems, like if a user going to from one page to another page, then we'll simply bind that tool, attach that toolbar with our nav controller, and it will generate a back button. Okay, and that back button will take care about your back navigation, means back stack. Okay, so we don't have to design it for every page. We just make a single toolbar, and that will take care about everything. Okay, every back stack, and later on we will means we can set anything in our toolbar, or we can customize it as we wish. Okay, so as you can see here, I was trying to constraint it. Okay, and I think you must have to focus on constraint layout, because it is very flexible. Okay, and if you are a designer, UI UX designer, then you should learn how constraint layout work. And if you guys want to a tutorial on that topic, you can comment down below, and I will make a video on that topic. Okay, in that video we will cover a brief about constraint layout. Okay, we will design several layouts and cover every single topics related to constraint layout. Okay, so comment down below. And one more thing, if you still watching this video, then please hit that like button and comment down below this video is helpful or this project is awesome. Okay, because most of the people trying to find all these tricks. okay, and there are no videos about that trick, and I have learned this things very hardly, okay, and after spending 2 or 4 years in these things, okay. So you can means you can get that experience throughout my videos also, okay. So comment down below and make sure to subscribe this channel, okay. And as you can see here, we are done with our 2-section designing part, okay. This is the remaining part of our home page, which we left in our previous video, and I'm going to include these 2 layouts, and means now I'm going to include all 3 things, means the top chair section and the toolbar and the search bar on my home, means main page, home main page, okay. So I'm going to include all these things, because our toolbar section we have covered it in our previous video, and as I said in previous video, that we are going to cover these things inside our next video. So we are going to complete all these things, and after that we'll start focusing on designing our detail page, okay. So it is mandatory to give include ID, okay. Later on we will use that ID to bind our data, okay, and we have to give a height and width for the include layout, okay, because after that it will be constant able okay, and we will start constrainting our, means we can start constrainting our layouts with each other. If you don't give a layout height and width, then you are not able to constrain our layouts, okay. So now I'm going to include my top chair section inside my home page, okay. And I hope you following the same procedure. If you get confused, or if you stuck any, means you are facing any issue to inflating all of these things, and you need any conversation, then you can simply comment down below, or there is a link of my Instagram profile, so you can follow me over there. Okay, so let's concentrate it first, and we will move on our next part in the in this application. Means we are going to focus on our detail page, because I think we are facing some issue here, okay. So let's start designing our detail page, because we will later on focus on this page, okay, and spend some time to constrainting it, because I think there is some ID issue, okay. So don't worry about that. Actually I was just trying to inflate all the important widgets on our home page, and when we will dealing with our data, and when we bind data with this layout, then we will focus to constrain it and fix other issues, okay. So let's means I'm going to I'm going to design my bottom navigation. So for that I'm going to add some icons for that, okay. So there is a home icon, okay, and along with that I'm going to add other icons too, okay. So there is a notification and search and profile, but in this video we are not going to focus to building all these pages, because these are not in our wireframe. We just have to design 3 pages. First one is onboarding, and second one is home, and third one is the detail page, okay. So when I design any application, I make my own guidelines, means which type of icons I have to add in my application, and which font I have to choose for my application, and I design all these things first, and then I start building, because it will maintain a same taste, because when user interact with your application, then it will he will not going to be distract, or if you use many type of color in your application, then your application start looking ugly and somehow user not be connected to your application and he will not going to use your application. So this is the most important thing which you don't know, I think. So please focus on all that things. So I think I have imported all my things. So I'm going to make my app bar, and I'm going to use coordinator layout for home page. Okay, and in that coordinator layout I'm going to include all these things, and after that I will bind that app bar layout with my activity main layout. Okay, and the main activity is our base activity. Okay, so all life cycle going to be derived from our main activity, means we are using fragment, and fragment mostly most of the fragment life cycle will be derived from our activity life cycle. When activity life cycle got means going to on create, then our fragment on create called, and most of the life cycle are same for activity and fragment. So when our activity go destroy, then our fragment also got destroyed. Okay, so I'm going to now create my app bar layout, and after that we will focus means we will start means we will add that app bar layout with our main activity, and then we will focus to means we will move forward. Yeah. Okay, so let's change this constant layout to coordinator layout. Okay, and this is the prerequisites when you building your means when you designing any home screen, and on that home screen you have some app bar and bottom navigation, then it is a good practice to use coordinator layout, and in that coordinator layout inflate all your widgets like I am doing. Okay, because coordinator layout give some inbuilt features to make all these things. Okay, if you want to show some snack bar inside your application, then you can do it in the constant layout, and in constant layout it will occupy some space for the snack bar by default. Okay, so you don't have to means your snack bar never going to be disturb any other elements in your home page. Okay, so now I am trying to make a floating action button. Okay, and later on I am going to set the anchor of that floating button to our bottom navigation. With that it will got attached with our bottom navigation bar, and later on we will focus on their gravity. Okay, and with that gravity we will center that floating button. Okay, so to set any anchor we have to first make a bottom app bar, and after that in that bottom app bar we will inflate our bottom navigation view widgets, and after that you have to create a floating action button, and in that floating action button there is a attribute called layout anchor gravity. You have to set layout anchor. So for that you need to call layout anchor in the floating action button, and you have to pass the bottom app bar ID. Okay, so it will got attached with the app bar, means bottom app bar. You don't have to do anything manually. Okay, and rest of the things it will manage automatically. Okay, so I'm going to remove all the backgrounds, means the bottom navigation background means default background, and bottom app bar background also. Okay, I'm going to set it transparent because I want to make the bottom app bar background white. Okay, and that's why I was trying. And there is some padding when you means it will take some default padding when you inflate your bottom navigation inside the bottom app bar widget. Okay, so we can give some manual padding from your right corner, and or you can simply remove the space and give some margin from the right. Okay, if you think it's look ugly for you. Okay, so to make this floating action button in the center, you have to use fab alignment. Okay, and use attribute center, so it will place the floating action button in the center of bottom app bar, and set the layout gravity to bottom, and that attribute align the whole app bar widgets to the bottom of the of the whole layout, means our parent layout. Okay, so now let's make our menu items. Okay, so for that you have to click on that main resource file and go to new and choose Android resource directory, and inside that resource directory you got and drop down option, and in that you have to select the menu option, and you will got a folder called menu, and in that menu you have to create a new menu resource, and in that resource file we have to define our menu. Okay, and we have to care about something, okay, some widgets, so I will explain it later. Okay, so let's add some items, and in that item when you making the menu section you have to give means it is mandatory to give item name, and after that you have to give ID, and we have to add some icons for the items. Okay, so I'm going to add a home menu item means icon, and let's copy this item and paste it, and we will simply modify this item section means item according to our menu. Okay, when you giving ID it is important to care about something. Okay, and I will tell you have to give the same ID which you have set in your nav graph. If you are not, then this thing's not going to be work, because you have to set it manually. Means if you not give the same ID according to your nav menu, then you have to pass it manually. You have to when you try to travel one fragment to another fragment, or if you click any the bottom menu, then you have to call every fragment manually. But when you give the same ID, then our nav controller will take care about all these things, and he know when which ID same with which nav menu. Okay, then it will start navigating throughout that ID. Okay, when you give the same ID, then if you click on any nav menu, then it will match with our fragment menu, means fragment ID, and he will navigate to that fragment. You don't have to do that things manually. Okay, that's why it is important. Okay, so I'm going to replace all the titles. and we have five icons, means the home, search, profile, notification, and in between we have a plus icon. And for that we will add 5 items inside our menu, and the middle one is going to be empty. We don't need to give any name and any icons. Okay, actually this is a hack to making this type of menu, so please leave the middle one empty, and you don't have to set any icon for that, and also you don't need to give any name or something. Okay, and I think we are done with that. So let's attach this menu with our bottom navigation bar. And I am going to add this app bar menu inside my main activity .xml file, activity main.xml file, because this activity going to be our parent activity, and this will contain all our fragments. Okay, so it is important to do it like that when you follow a single activity architecture. Okay, let's constrain it, and we have to add our nav fragment controller inside this app bar menu. Okay, because we can also add that inside our main activity, but this is comes in our best practice. Okay, so we should add that nav fragment container inside our app bar layout. Okay, so if you are following with me, then do it like that. Okay, so there is an attribute called layout behavior, and if you use that attribute and use the property of that attribute, then it will automatically set means give some margins from the bottom of the our bottom navigation or from the top. But I think this should not going to be work, and this is not working for now, so I'm going to leave it as it is. Okay, because we are not focusing on that part now. Later on we will cover these things. Okay, so I think now we should bind our layout with our activity. Okay, so for that we need to create some attribute and bind these things with our nav controller. Okay, so let's move to our main activity, and in that main activity we will bind this bottom navigation. So before that we have to give the ID for that, because this ID means using this ID we will get the ID from the app bar layout. Okay, so in that main activity let's define our nav controller, and before that we need to bind our main activity. XML file. So let's do it first. So as I have sorted all our XML file name smaller, then I'm going to do it like that for the activity main.xml, and let's define our nav controller. So I'm going to return a promise with my activity, main activity, and I'm going to initialize that binding with data binding util. And now I am going to attach our bottom navigation bar with nav controller. So for that I am going to call that bottom navigation id, okay, throughout the binding dot app bar layout dot bottom navigation view, and there is a attribute called setup with nav controller. So I am going to pass our nav controller with inside that, because in that method parameter it will ask for that nav controller. So I'm going to pass it, and now we are done with our bottom navigation. And let's create a nav host fragment, and in that nav host fragment we are going to attach our fragment container, which we define, which we place earlier inside our app bar layout. Okay, so to get that we use a support fragment manager dot find fragment manager by id, and we will give the fragment container id inside the parameter of find fragment by id, and we will cast it as a nav host fragment, and later on we will set that nav host fragment with our with our nav controller. Okay, we will initialize our nav controller, and we will pass the nav host fragment, and that nav host fragment going to be returned of find controller. Okay, so we are now successfully attached that nav controller with our fragment container. So now we are ready to go, and now I'm going to I think the ID not same for the home page, so I'm going to rename the ID and make it same as our bottom navigation ID. Okay, as I said earlier, that we need to give the same ID which going to be match our menu item. That ID should match our menu item. Our onboarding page going to be the parent layout, parent fragment, and this is the landing page of our application. And after that, when user click on the get started, then user go to the home page, and if he click any of the item, then he will navigate to the detail page. Okay, now let's design our detail page. In the detail page, this is a very simple. We need a recycler view for that, and we need a image view, and we will design it in a separate layout, because if if you use this, means if you design it like that, then you can use that layout for other pages also. Okay, so let's create another file for that. If you facing any if you facing to design any layout, then you can simply do one thing, just break it in a separate module. And now when you break it in a separate module, then you got a very brief path how you should design that layout. Okay, if you think that I'm going to design all these things in a single activity or single fragment, then you can, but that will be going to be more complex. If you need to change anything, then you it will start making things complex. Okay, and since we are using constant layout, then if you constrain it once, then it will be going to be more difficult to constrain it again and again. Okay, because when you break any constraint from any element, then it that will be going to destroy our whole activity, and you are going to facing a lot of difficulties. So if you using constraint layout, then design choose, means make a section of your application page and design it in a separate XML file, and later on you can simply include that layout with your activity or XML activity or fragment, sorry. So as you can see here, I have taken image view and a recycler view, and I'm going to constrain the recycler view on the left side as the wireframe guideline, and I'm going to set the image view on the right side. Okay, and let's give an ID for the image view, and let's give an ID for our recycler view. And I think this is very simple. There is no complex things which I need to explain. Now I think I'm going to make it fast, means I'm going to make it fast forward, because there is nothing to make you understand with that layout. Okay, and I've already covered the adapter section for that. Okay guys, so let's focus on the middle section of our detail page, which is the counter section, and I have named my layout as a counter layout. So you can name your layout whatever you want, and I'm not going to brief how I made this layout, because I'm going to leave it upon you and make it using your skills with constant layout, because it is important. If you just copy with my tutorial, then this tutorial never going to add any value inside your skill. So I cannot skip it, but please try to build it using your skill set. okay, and try to use constant layout in your all project. So there is a minus and addition button, and in that there is a counter. When you click on plus button, then that counter will going to be increased, means 0 1 0 2 0 3, and you can add as much item as you want inside your cart. Okay, so this counter will going to show you that how much item you adding in your cart. That's why there is a text view, and in the text view we are going to increment the value of the counter when user press on plus button. With that, when user press on negative button, then that counter will going to be decrease the number. And on the right side I'm going to show the price of the product. So I have taken a text view, and in that text view there is a drawell symbol, and I'm going to add some padding inside that and attach the main price of the product with that text view. Okay, now let's attach and constraint it all the widgets. Okay, so I'm going to select both three widgets, both three text view, and make it horizontal, means bind it in a horizontal chain, and I'm going to constraint that price text view also. And to make in a same alignment, you can use that top constraint with your counter constraint. Okay, counter top constraint. Okay, and if you do it like that, then when you move your counter, then your price will be going to move along with your counter. Okay, please watch all these things till the end, because this is going to be very important. And if you can make it without watching this video, then please make it, and I'm going to make it fast forward. Okay, because this is a task for you guys, and design this whole layout using constant layout. And if you wish, you can separate all these things in a separate layout. Okay, so enjoy.
you.